Hey guys, it's Brandon. Driving, so I figured now would be a good time to make a video. So I think it's finally dawning on the rest of the car world. Like, wait a second, why did Tadge Juchter, Kurt Bennion, and also Harlan Charles all no longer work at General Motors? We can say Tadge retired voluntarily, and I told you guys at the time Tadge saw the writing on the wall because I just released a video, not even a couple weeks earlier, really raging about how I'd figured out the thing about how the oil raises up on the cars, okay? And that I knew how it worked. And I'd figured it out way before that as well, but I made another video like really angry about it. And I think Tadge had the common sense to say, I'm out of here. Because basically, here's what it boils down to. The cars were highly delayed. You know, they were supposed to be out in 2021. The Z06 is supposed to be a 2021 model year. Didn't come out until 2023. So Tadge and these guys, they weren't completely forthright, I don't think, with General Motors about what's going on. And then I think now General Motors is in disaster control, collateral damage, you know, trying to mitigate how much damage they're going to incur with class actions on this whole thing with recalls. And so they need to have a paper trail that they fired those who are responsible. And so you've got Tadge, Harlan, and Bennion are at the top of the team. Now granted, it makes you wonder, there's got to be some executives who said, hey, this is going to make us a lot of money if these engines and transmissions fail. So I think that they're to the point where they feel like they're just being embarrassed because of my videos. And I think I told you guys a long time ago that my videos used to only get like a couple hundred views normally, but when they would get like 1,000 views, that means they got wildfire shared within General Motors. I don't know if you guys realize it or not, but here lately, I'm not a member of any of the Corvette groups anymore. Okay, it's just the Vette Titans group that I'm in. I'm nowhere else to be found. And if you look at my videos lately, they've got thousands of views. People are paying attention to what's going on now. People inside GM realize they could be next. You know, if all of a sudden Harlan and Bennion are gone, you're sitting there asking yourself, if you work at General Motors, well, then that means they could fire me. That means they could let me go. What's going on here? So, anyhow, we are currently on the way to go cold start the Corvette. I did not have a chance to pull the oil out of it the other day. I didn't have the proper lift and everything to get underneath the car. And so I parked the car, and it's been sitting since 2 Saturdays ago, and today's Wednesday, February 12th. And so we are on the way to go get this car. We're going to cold start it, and I'm going to do my best to try to figure out a way to pull an oil sample from the dry sump tank. On the C7, it would have been a piece of cake to get oil out because you could actually look down and see the oil in the tank on the C7, and you could use like a straw fish tank hose to suck some oil out so you can get a sample. But this is not the C7, so I think they might have installed like a screen on that oil tank. It's in front of the motor. I'm not sure, but anyway, here's something else to think about, guys. I knew all along that they were going to come out with this really heartwarming video about the Grand Sport, and it was going to be Tadge, Harlan, and Bennion in that video about the Grand Sport and how secret Grand Sports have always been a thing, and they're carrying on the tradition of Zora, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? How can you air a video about the Grand Sport if Tadge, Harlan, and Bennion are all gone? There's also another motor there's another motor that's a high compression, high revving motor that has the 2 in-tank fuel pumps, the necessary what's needed. That could be the quote-unquote ZR1, but maybe they'll end up calling that the Zora, okay? And maybe they'll just do the all-wheel drive ZR1, and then they'll have a Zora, and then have an all-wheel drive Zora. But there is another motor other than this turbo motor. Okay, there's a high revving, naturally aspirated motor. Now here's the other thing, guys. The weight distribution's still wrong on the car. So it could be that they go to the C9 sooner than later because they know that they're going to get sued about these e-diff glitches. Okay? So it could be that this all gets cut short and they get the C9 cranking sooner than later, and that's why they end up calling this Grand Sport, because that's what this car is. It's about to come out. Maybe they just call the Grand Sport the ZR1 and then call it a day. Don't go any further. So there was more cars. There was going to be two different variations of Grand Sport. There was going to be a higher level Grand Sport and a lower level Grand Sport, the same way as they used to do the 427 and then the regular Grand Sport underneath it. Okay. So anyhow, in the C6 era, they had what was called the 427. Those of you who are ignorant, it was a Grand Sport with the 427. It was the Grand Sport with the Z06 motor in it. Okay, so they had two different levels of Grand Sport. But anyway, just figured I'd fill you guys in there. While I'm actually pulling up right now to the house where the Corvette is. So this is actually good timing because now you know I haven't touched the car. You know it's a true cold start. And if this car starts roughly, like it doesn't want to start, know that this car just had a brand new battery put in. So if this car doesn't start like right away first try, that means we're bending our connecting rods. Because General Motors has a car that when you get just a little bit of bad gas in it, it's not bad. Like the car didn't run wrong, guys. That's the thing. It's not like bad gas where the car's like, oh, no. It's just a little bit of bad gas. There's been cars delivered from Bowling Green with the bad gas to new car dealerships before. I know that for a fact too. I heard that along the way. So just let the van, we can shut the van off. That way there's no other noise. Got the Corvette key in our pocket. I went to Lowe's and actually I got a little bottle so we can take an oil sample. I got hose and I got a squirter thing, and the goal of the squirter thing that has this little hose attachment thing on here is hopefully we can get the suction needed to draw some oil up into this hose, and from there we will be able to get an oil sample so that we can send it off to the lab. And what we're looking for is simply gasoline and what do you say we stand outside the car when we start it? How about that? Okay, so here's the car behind me. You guys can see it here. You can't really see very well. You know what I should do? I should okay, well, let me see something here. Set this stuff on the roof for a second. Let's use the key to cold start the car, and we'll stand outside the car and listen for abnormal. Okay, so just so you can see where I'm at right now. Okay, there's the tail lights. Okay, so I'm right behind the car here. So ready? I'm gonna lock it. Did you hear how it was hard for it to turn over? Ooh, look at the exhaust. Look at the exhaust. Huge white plume just came out of the car, guys. The exhaust definitely smells like gas. I realize exhaust is supposed to smell like gas, but that's a lot of white smoke. A lot of white smoke coming out right now. So when the car turned over right there, it was not easily turning over. That was a hard turnover. So the pistons were going up and down through the oil, in my opinion. Look at all of that white smoke. Oh shit. God damn it, I did not want to do that. Damn. I did not want to do that. It's just getting warmed up. That's how you file plugs. You hear how weird that sounds? Those of you who own a Z06? So they've got a ball now. You can't see the oil anymore like you could with the C7. They've got a ball that like blocks. So this hose idea is not going to work. I was going to try to get an oil sample by trying to suck some oil out of there. So oh man. What a shit show, huh? That was a lot of white smoke in the beginning. The white smoke has subsided. On that second startup, the car actually sounded more throaty. I don't know if you noticed that or not. But, heck, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go get, I'm trying to think here how I want to do this. Huh. Okay, well that's enough of this video for now. Go ahead and I'm trying to think here how I want to do this. See, I've got to get this van back to another location too. This car needs to be driven though. You know what I could do? I know what I could do. I could just take the car to the dealership tonight. Drop the car off the dealership tonight. That's what I think I'm gonna do. You hear the ticking motor? actually not bad right now, but it will once it idles down some more. I'm gonna get my water here out of my van and my charger cord. Water and my charger. I don't think what else I need to do. I don't know if I want to take the dealer tonight or if I want to take it in the morning. It's probably better to take it in the morning. I'm going to get in the car though anyway because it's cold. I'm letting the car warm up. Ironically, if I were to drive the car, those of you who know anything about Z06s, you know that if I drove the car right now, it would actually not get as warm as it will if I just sit here and idle. The idling is going to bring it up to temperature faster than driving it will because the oil temperature on these cars does not come up to temperature while you're driving in cold weather. It's 36 degrees outside right now, guys, according to the PDR. So poor neighbors. What we could do is we could drive it down the street. We'll drive down the street anyway. Get the coolant up to temperature, but then once the coolant's up to temperature, the oil doesn't get up to temperature until you We'll go down to the gas station, put a little bit of gas in it, because I've got 34 miles till empty right now. That way we can run it. We can check the oil on the light. So it was good to let that idle there for a little bit because that allowed the scavenge pumps to get all the oil back up to the tank and out of the crankcase, which is important. I will say for a 45,000 mile car, the windshield wipers are still in good shape. They don't make any noise. Nice and smooth. I'm going to buckle my safety belt here in a second. I don't know if my phone's got enough memory to make it all the way to the gas station. This phone is the one that gets filled up real quick. So anyway, to recap what we were talking about at the beginning of the video, you got the bad weight distribution of the car that Tadge and all these guys said was perfect, and it's not. You've got the e-diff program, which is flawed to try to make up for the 3961 weight distribution of the car, okay? The overzealous e-diff program, which can't be changed, can't be unlocked. You've got the lack of mechanical diff options in the cars, okay? You've got, they could have set an they could have easily broke the ring record if they would have offered a mechanical diff option. You've got ring cars that cheat with the magnesium DCT, which, by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what's in the red ZR1 car, the one that's breaking all the records, is the lighter weight DCT, so they can run a slightly different e-diff program. They don't even know what the gas guzzler tax on the car is going to be yet. They haven't even passed emissions yet. And anyway, it's not a production vehicle that they're out there racing around. That's a experimental VIN car, which means nothing. They can run any e-diff program they want on that car. Okay, any e-diff program. It's not the one that they're going to sell you per se. Let's see what else. Then you got the raising oil issue, which General Motors knows is an issue because there were cars that were sitting outside Bowling Green in the very first run of Z06s that all had quote-unquote oiling issues. When they would start them at the lot, they would have issues. That's because the gas at Bowling Green was bad enough to aggravate the cars. So other Corvettes have never had an issue with the Bowling Green gasoline. It's supposed to be good gasoline. And we know this because multiple dealerships have received the cars where the oil raised off the truck while the cars were undergoing PDI. Okay? So this is a serious issue. General Motors knows about it. If they say they don't know about it, they're full of shit. So that's what they're doing right now, is they're having to clean house because it's a huge liability. And see, what's funny is all these people like Keith Cornett and Justin, a horsepower obsessed, John Elegant, all these people keep saying, oh, Brandon doesn't know what he's talking about. All the Deb Lowe's, Wendy Millers, all these people. Let's put it this way. There's a reason why General Motors is having to fire people right now, and I'm part of that equation. General Motors is scared shitless of what happens when I explain all this shit to the National Traffic Highway Safety. Oh, and by the way, right when I made those phone calls, then not long after that is when Harlan and Bennion got canned. They got kicked to the curb. Because General Motors is trying, as a corporation, they're having to what do you call it, cover their ass. They're having to show that they got rid of the troublemakers, even though it's not just them, it's everybody. It's the executives more than the engineers. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, our coolant is now up to 163. We're gonna put a little bit of gas in because we're low on gas.
Get ready. 6 cents stackable fuel savings are here. Now for opted-in good drivers, when you add your coffee savings to your Vette drink savings to your parking pass, for everything 6 cents.
Let's put some 93 in. So I'm only going to put in like 2 gallons, because why would I put in more? They're just going to add dye to the gas. So what General Motors told the dealership to do is add dye to the gasoline and see what's going on. All right, so it's still not up to temperature yet. You gotta keep that shut for a minute, let it get hot here idling. If you own a Z06, then you know in the wintertime you can't get the oil up to temperature unless you let the car idle. So now we've got a 69-mile range. The dealership's like 20 miles away, so that'll give them plenty of Here's what it boils down to, guys. General Motors, they win the stupid award. Here's why. Like, this is comical what I'm about to tell you. Okay, listen to this very carefully. By General Motors releasing a car that does what it does, where it puts the gasoline into the oil, ultimately there's going to be no way down the road for General Motors to prove the difference between those who just self-sabotage their cars and put gas in their oil versus the cars that really have the problem. And what I mean by that is once your car has been flagged that it has a problem and anybody can just replicate it on their car, anybody can get their car bought back. Like, that's, I don't think you guys realize how serious of an issue this is. This is like worse than like Dieselgate, Volkswagen Jetta stuff. This is a really big deal that they have right now going on. So again, those of you, even if you get the idea, oh, well, Brandon, you're putting gasoline into your oil. I want them to put the tape on my nozzles, on the things, and then I'll just continue to drive the car around until next oil change. And we'll find out the hard way if there's a problem. See, I'm not going to be able to check my oil level. So what it means is, it means there's a decent chance that the engine, if the oil starts raising up again, it means that there's a decent chance that the engine will bend its connecting rods and the engine will actually blow before the next oil change. So I'm all for them putting that tape around the fill cap and the dipstick checker. I'm all for them. So again, we're going to try to get them to give us a sample of the oil so that we can send it into the lab and get tests for water, tests for ethanol, and tests for gasoline in the oil. You got to test for all those, because it could be the water ethanol bank that's getting the water ethanol exclusively that's going down into the crankcase. You don't know. I don't know yet which one it is, if it's the water ethanol or if it's the gasoline. I would imagine there's got to be some gasoline in there, but you never know. So anyway, what we're doing right now is we're getting everything up to temperature. We're at 174 coolant. So let's go check out our oil level. You can see I've done my maintenance. I just did the transmission fluid, the transmission filter, the engine oil. Just did the 45,000 mile service. Drove straight back from Florida, and this happens. This car's already rolled a lemon. This car's already going back to GM. Which, by the way, wait till you hear this, Mark Royce. Your lemon law department, they tried to play games with me after the Better Business Bureau already ruled that it's a lemon. I didn't respond to the Better Business Bureau within like 15 days or whatever it is. So your lemon law department thought it was funny, thought it was a good idea to try to kick the can down the road and not accept my car as a lemon, because the Better Business Bureau's ruling becomes like null and void. but you know that it's a lemon. You know, and you guys buy cars back when customers prove that they're lemons even before the BBB gets involved. So you guys kick the can down the road, and by you kicking the can down the road, it's given me this evidence. This evidence would have never been in my lap to basically humiliate General Motors if they would have just bought this car back, which I know I'm going to get it bought back because I can turn it into the Attorney General, I can get a lawyer, I can self-represent. There's 3 other ways I can still get it bought back. It's not a problem. It's just the irony of the whole thing that by GM kicking the can down the road and not buying this car back. Okay, so what we're going to do is options, info tile selection. Okay, so we're going to change the battery voltage to oil temperature. Okay, so we're up to 156 oil temperature. Now, if we were driving the car down the road, that would only say 135 right now because it's so cold outside. Z06s don't get their oil up to temperature when it's cold outside. That's a whole nother problem with this car. This car has so many fucking problems. So many fucking problems. And those of you who are like, well, they use special oil. Yeah, special oil that gets gasoline, ethanol, and water in it. Yeah, they use special oil, all right. Oh my God, it's a joke. See if we can get the oil temperature up to 160 and then we'll check the oil. I'll take a drink here. So again, for those who don't understand, it's not that bad of gas that causes this to happen. Like, the car runs fine, but it pours the gasoline down one of the banks, which I explained in the other video. The video that's titled, Harlan, show this video to get your job back. That's the video you want to watch. It's got a good illustration and show how it happens. I'm probably going to upload the video again and name it something else. That way people can search it easily on the internet. I'll do like Vette Titans explains the, we're only up to 156 oil temperature, and that looks like that's about all the higher it's gonna go. All right, so let's go check the oil and see how bad it is. Ready? It's scary bad. There's that four-wheel drive van that I want. That's the one I want. Except I want the one that's longer, not the shorty. That's pretty sweet. All right, let me grab a napkin here. I'm dumpster diving for a napkin right now. We'll go inside and get a napkin on. Hopefully nobody steals the car. Buddy. Okay. So are you ready? Okay, so your dipstick is clean. Now we're gonna put the dipstick back in and pull it right back out. and the dipstick oil is up to here. Okay, so to put that in perspective, first dot, second dot, up to here, where my thumb is, right here. So the distance from the first dot to the second dot is this far. So 1, 2.5, 2.5 higher. So now the question of, can we get a hose down in there to suck some oil out to do a test? So we got the dipstick out of that hole right there. So the question is, can we stick that hose down in there? Okay, so this particular hose is too big. So this hose, 3/8 outer diameter, is too big. I have another fish tank hose that's even smaller diameter. But the problem was with the smaller diameter hose was that this didn't hook up to it. But maybe the smaller diameter hose will fit into the bigger hose. I should have brought the smaller diameter hose with me, damn it. I doubt the smaller diameter hose fits in there either, to be honest with you. I doubt it. See, on the C7, you could see down to the oil. It would have been easy to take a sample. This one, you got to let the oil out from underneath, so we'll just let the dealership let the oil out. I don't know what the hell this guy's doing. He's like stalking me, being weird. Oh boy. Well, how about that for a video, huh? We got white smoke at startup. The car didn't start well, which means it was encountering resistance, which means all the pistons could have been hitting oil. See, what it boils down to, guys, is here's the irony to this whole thing. General Motors is going to be, forced is not the proper word. They're going to be forced from within. Okay, the engineers who actually understand the problem and understand the solution is the two fuel pumps and the single up and the single line for each pump up to the two high side pumps, so a separate feed line up to each high side. The engineers are going to force Mark and Mary to do the two in-tank fuel pumps on all the Z06s moving forward, because otherwise, like, listen to me very carefully, Mark Royce and Mary Barra. All that a customer has to do right now, since your car has this flaw, is the customer put some gasoline in their oil and they can say that your car did it, because your cars do it. And until you fix your car so that it doesn't do it, you can't prove in a courtroom the difference between a customer who sabotaged your car and a customer where it just happens to your car. And you guys know that it happens. So don't pretend like I'm sabotaging the car. You guys know it happens. You guys have a whole lot of cars at Bowling Green that you park off to the side when it happens. I have enough inside people. I know what's going on. You've had brand new cars at dealerships have it happen. Okay, so don't bullshit anybody here and pretend that this isn't an issue. This is a serious issue. We know that it's an issue. It's just nobody else could figure out why it was happening. And then I figure it out. And your engineers have actually told the dealerships that it's bad gasoline. Have they not, Mark Royce? So don't say that it's me who thought it all up. Your engineers have told dealerships before who've swapped the pumps and it was still happening. You guys said it's just bad gas. Grow up. A bad gas causes the car to do this, does it? You guys are toast. I told you guys, Mark Royce and Maribera when I say you guys. All the rest of you, I told you that Z06s would be limited in quantity if I were to whistleblow on what I knew about the cars. I kept my mouth shut. You know what I mean? Hang on, I gotta see where I'm going. I got the stupid light in my face. I let them produce a bunch of them if they wanted to, and they did. I let them produce them. And they chose to. And so now it's their problem, guys. It's General Motors doing. But at least there's a bunch of these on the road. That people got their, people got satisfied. But now Mark Royce and all these guys are going to learn what recalls are all about. You're going to have to drop the fuel tank and the engine, Mark Royce, to install 2 feed lines up to the high side pumps. You guys still wondering why Harlan and Tadge and Bennion no longer have a job? Keep wondering. It's going to cost General Motors a lot of money to fix. A lot of money to fix. And then you got people like Wendy Miller and everybody who want to show their faces and cross me in the groups. It just adds the documentary. All we have to do is just release a documentary. We don't have to battle GM in the courtroom. The courtroom battle will come as soon as we release the documentary. I've had the GM puppets and the GM lawyers questioning in my YouTube videos, what are you going to do? How are you going to sue them? What's your strategy? What's next? I'm like, I'm not telling you my strategy. And really what it comes down to is all I got to do is release the documentary. About what a shit show this has been. What a fucking headache it's been to try to prove this. Because your people can't do their fucking jobs. See ya. That was nice to get that white smoke on film, wasn't it? I didn't even think that was going to happen. Now I think about that one. See if it happens again tomorrow. And see if General Motors had any common sense at all. They'd have a TSB out about this and say if the oil's raised, don't let the customer leave in the car, because when the customer cold starts it, it's going to bend the connecting rods. And if the customer leaves in the car, have the tow truck come and pick it up. Call GM tech support and schedule for a tow truck to come pick the car up. But General Motors doesn't have that IQ either. I'm teaching General Motors how to create the TSBs. Good thing you got good people working for you, Mark Royce. You guys are a bunch of fucking superstars, aren't you, big dog? See ya. Turning. Oh, wow. Time to go get some dinner, I guess. Enough fun for one night. Wait a second, what am I doing? All right. You guys want to hear a ticking motor? Tick 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 tick. 45,000 miles, still ticking, Mark Royce. Good work, buddy. Oh man, I'd like to put this car on a dyno and see how much less power it makes. It's definitely less powerful than a new one. Definitely less powerful than a new one. And you say, well, why is that, Brandon? Because it's undergone so much fucking detonation. The bearings and everything are fucked up. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. The detonation's a whole nother topic. That's their fucked up fuel system too. It's another thing their fuel system sucks at. Do not own one of these cars out of warranty. Don't even think about owning one of these fucking cars out of warranty. This thing is a shit show. I'm gonna sue you, Brandon. Fucking sue away, Mark Royce. Your car's a piece of shit.